Hey everybody, I'm Alex Aquarius. Welcome to the Plain Mundane Show. Live coming to you from Houston, Texas. Forget that this koozie says Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo on it, okay? But this is my beard. Look at this picture. I think I found my doppelganger. I want to be regressed and find out my previous life, because a lot of people, when they get regressed in hypnotism, they find out that evidently they were kings, emperors, or pharaohs, or somebody really important. And I think I found my doppelganger, because if you look just right there, you can see, you can just look right at him and tell that's me. Because I mean, look at the brow, look at the nose, look at the cheek line there. See, so I think I'm Ramses too. That's who I was. I'm going to try to meditate on that and try to do an astral projection tonight on that basis, because I'm probably Ramses II. All right, no, today what we're going to talk about, folks, is the buddy of this guy in the palace, who was the adopted brother of Akhnaten. Okay, now let's talk about who was Akhnaten. Okay, let me show you a picture. This is Akhnaten. He is the pharaoh who was, during his time in about 1390 BC, he was a pharaoh that ruled in Egypt, and he got rid of all of the pantheon of Egyptian gods, and he started the monotheistic belief in one god that he called Aten, and he was Akhnaten. Akh was like the servant, or benefactor for Aten. So his name means for God, speaker for God, like the prophet for God, the seer for God. And he was the only one. He didn't believe that there was any priesthood needed between him and God, because he was a god. This guy was also a hybrid being. He had narrow shoulders, pot belly, wide hips, the long fingers, extremely tall, and he had an elongated head. His daughter looked like this. His daughter was one of those elongated skulls, okay? His second son was King Tut. You hear a lot about King Tut because they found his tomb intact when they found the tomb of King Tut. This town in this book, by the way, I bought in Egypt. I had some projects out there, and I had an apartment in Heliopolis, and I was building some farm places like in Alexandria. But if you look through this book, it's just got fantastic photography. I bought this thing for like $8, like in 1999, when I lived out there, off and on. I used to fly out there and didn't have to stay in a hotel, just get a key, go to the apartment. Whenever we weren't working, we'd grab horses, go ride camels, go around the pyramids, climb the pyramids, ride Arabian horses. There's the pantheon of Egyptian gods right there. Okay, so what Akhnaten did was he took the gods that all of the Egyptians worshipped, and he took, there's a tablet I'd have to find in that book, but you can find one where he's worshiping the solar disk, and the rays are coming down, and each ray has a little hand on the end of it like this. And it's in the Antiquities Museum. I've been there a couple of times. I've seen it. It's in a small room about as big as my living room. It's not a big display, but it's got this little stone in a recessed wall, and it's the picture that a lot of people have seen of Akhnaten and his wife Nefertiti, these tall, hybrid, alien-looking beings sitting with these tiny little children on their laps that look like mice. And they've got the solar disk above them with the sun rays coming down. Okay, that was Akhnaten. You may have seen that picture if I'm describing it well. I'm probably not. But anyway, let me show you a picture of Akhnaten while I read some excerpts from the Graham Hancock website. Graham Hancock is an economist. I subscribed to The Economist magazine back in 1990. Gosh, 90, when was that, about 27 years ago? Graham Hancock was writing for The Economist at the time, and I was an economics major, graduated in economics. And then he went to Egyptology, and I wound up living in Heliopolis. So what a coincidence. He's always been someone I've followed. I like his work. But, he's got, on his website here, this guy named Ahmed Osman made some connections that he thinks Akhnaten was Moses. During his reign, Akhnaten was able to abolish the complex pantheon of Egyptian religion and replace it with a single god, Aten, who had no image or form. Seizing on the striking similarities between the religious version of Akhnaten and the teachings of Moses, Sigmund Freud was the first to argue that Moses was in fact an Egyptian. Okay, in the stunning retelling of the Exodus story, Osman details the events of Akhnaten/Moses' life and how he was brought up by Israelite relatives, ruled Egypt for 17 years, angered many of his subjects by replacing the traditional Egyptian pantheon with worship of Aten, was forced to abdicate the throne, retreating to exile in Sinai. Where did Moses get the 10 commandments, the 15 before he dropped 5 and kept the 10? It was Sinai. With his Egyptian and Israelite supporters, he died out of sight of his followers, presumably at the hands of Seti, who was known as Satan, who to his mother was known as the priests of Amun, who were also known as the Brotherhood of Light or the Illuminati of his day in 1394 BC. Connect all this together, folks. I'm not making it up. You couldn't do this. It's too many coincidences here. Oh, the Book of the Dead. Let's see. Akhnaten is the first mysterious and most interesting of all ancient Egyptian pharaohs. He created the revolution in religion. After the death of Akhnaten, Moses selected the Israelite tribe living east of the Nile Delta to be his chosen people, took them out of Egypt at the time of the Exodus, and passed them on to the tenets of Akhnaten's religion. Birth. This is funny how the stories cross. Akhnaten was born in the year 12 of his father Amenhotep III in 1394 BC in the summer royal palace in the southern city of Zar in northern Sinai. Then he grew up in a town called Memphis. And at about 12, fearing that the Tuthmosis, as he went by, he was Tuthmosis IV before Akhnaten. He was known as Tuthmosis. Look, he even has Moses in his name. Tuthmosis IV. His mother, Queen of Tiye, T-I-Y-E, thought he died at the hands of the priests of Amun, and when she found him, she put him and took him and floated him out by the river, it says, to protect his life, fearing his safety from the priests of Amun. So at some point in this guy, young Akhnaten appeared at the capital city of Thebes for the first time when he reached the age of 16. There he met Nefertiti, his half-sister, and the daughter of Sitamun. If you read the history in Egyptian pharaohs, Sitamun was married when she was 3 years old to Akhnaten or Tuthmosis IV's father. This is where all the pedophilia started, okay? You've got Set, who's Satan, who's killing the Pharaoh, who's the servant and communicator for God. You've got Satan here. You've got the Brotherhood of Light. You've got Illuminati. You've got a girl married at 3 years old. You've got all of the same characteristics and tenets of what's going on today when people describe secret societies, Illuminati, Jesuit priests, assassins, satanic cults, and pedophilia. It was all there, folks. So basically, I'm not going to get into the whole story. This video, I want to keep it short. But what Akhnaten did was he took his Hebrews out of Egypt and he went out to the desert, and about 240 kilometers south of Cairo on the east side of the river towards Sinai, and told them about a monotheistic God. Okay, got rid of the whole pantheon. Now, oddly enough, when Akhnaten died, his son took over, King Tut, for a short reign, and reinstalled the priests of Amun, who were the pantheon worshippers of the multi-gods and were also a deadly cult of assassins. And if you read about King Tut, he was found with his cranium crushed in. I've seen it in the museum at his exhibit. King Tut was found with his cranium crushed, and it was suspected that he was murdered. And then you have, if you've studied lightly, let's say, the origins of secret societies, Freemasonry, mystery schools, Nimrod, Sumeria, you've gone through the fair, you learn that the priesthood of Melchizedek is synonymous with the priests of Amun. And if Akhnaten was Melchizedek, and Abraham paid his tithes to Melchizedek, and Akhnaten was also Moses, and Melchizedek was Moses, then you have the sons who went back to the multi-gods, but they still had Aten in there. Whether it was monotheism, it was Aten. Aten was also one of the gods of the Egyptian world. of the pantheon of polytheism, of many gods. So there's clues in here, folks, to figure it all out. Like, who are they? Who did it? What are the mystery schools? What did they originate from? Where did the tribes of Israel go when they spread out into Europe? If you see some of my other videos and you look at the cryptos who had to convert to Christianity to survive and thrive in all of these different kingdoms of Europe, in which people say they actually created Christianity to live under. And what we're practicing today is Judaism, Talmudic Judaism, that we call Christianity. So whether you're practicing Judeo-Christian beliefs of any type on either side, it's all Judaism. And the Vatican and the Catholic Church have been Jewry, Talmudic, Kabbalistic Judaism from the get-go, from the inception. All right, folks? So that's it. I'm Alex Aquarius. Thanks for watching my show. Hope you see that I look exactly like Ramses II, and I'm probably his doppelganger. And we'll see you at our next video. Peace. I'm out.